Welcome to the Shrewdness. We are so excited about this baseball-focused endeavor. As teased in prior episodes, we are doing 15 to 20-minute primers for each MLB team to prepare you for this 2025 season, to help you with your fantasy baseball drafts and future bets, or simply to improve your knowledge as the season begins. From the projected starters to the prospects, we will touch it all and give our shrewd takes on the key to their success. So sit back, take some notes, and enjoy the show.
Hello, Shrewdness fans. Welcome to the show. We are in our Major League Baseball series where we are continuing to analyze teams one at a time until we get through all of the Major League teams leading up to the 2025 season. Tonight's episode is going to be brought to you mostly by Lou, covering the Boston Red Sox. And then we'll all chime in as we think of things.
Sox.
His Dex, Lou, and I'm Prue. Welcome to the show.
This is the first
Lou,
show
take
with
it
all
away.
four. First
We
one with
haven't,
all four
we
of us.
haven't had the four of us together in some time.
As Dexter would call it, the four-banger.
I would call it that. That is correct.
Like I've known you for decades or something.
Four-banger going on right here. All right. What's up with these Beantowners this year, Lou?
All right, so it's kind of a bizarre scenario that we've got. I like to kind of go in order. Last year, they were projected to not be good. They were projected, for the most part, to finish under 500, and they finished 500. They actually pleasantly outperformed their projections. Both Fangraphs had them at 77 wins, Pacoda at 80 wins. They got 81. Their actual over-under Vegas numbers was sub 80, and so they actually were a relatively comfortable over. And they were right there at the end, almost in the playoff race, but they kind of petered out for those who followed the AL playoff race. This year, their projections are Fangraphs 85, and the Pacoda is 79.8, almost identical to last year's Pacoda projection. But they're over-under 86.5.
Wow.
All right?
Really?
Substantially higher than last year.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
Where are the 5 extra wins coming from? Well,
Me.
I'm telling you, the whole thing appears to be they got a 4.1 third baseman in the name of Alex Bregman from Houston as a free agent. Signed him to like $84 gajillion dollars.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Some ridiculous number over so many years that nobody else wanted to really touch it. And he also plays Gold Glove third base, caliber third base. But then at the same time, they had Rafael Devers, who actually did win the Gold Glove. And that's been the biggest thing that's been coming out right now is Devers has planted his foot on third and said, I'm not moving.
Right.
So as much as we're talking about all this stuff right now, there may be more shoes to drop. I'm just looking right now, and some people are projecting they may try to trade Rafael Devers.
That would be stupid. I think he's the best player on their team for stability. And I think he's also – I thought he signed a fairly large deal a couple years ago. I don't know how tradable he is, but I could be totally off on that.
Yeah, he's not Jarren Duran. Let's back the truck up a little bit. He's not though they are both 28. Jarren Duran was the number 8 in the MVP balloting last year. Yeah, we gone over this before, Chisholm. Did you know what Jarren Duran's his WAR was for last year? Any idea? Want to guess?
I'm gonna go 6.
That would be a great season.
Yeah.
It was 8.7.
It was ridiculously high. I can't believe it was that high.
That's like BWJ territory there.
That is legitimately MVP, and that comes from pretty high average at 285, a very good OBP at 342 with 21 homers and basically Gold Glove defense.
Yeah.
In center, there's no holes in that. He's also hits left. Like he's just got like all of these things that are like perfect. He's in his 28th age year. So he's going to be kind of at the peak of his powers. They actually overall look pretty good up and down the lineup. I would say Tristan Casas?
I think it's Casas.
Casas.
He's an interesting dude. He's kind of like the Buffalo Bills wideout that's barefoot all the time.
Matt
Collins. Tristan
Collins.
Casas reminds me of Mac Collins. He's just a weird kind of dude. Just look him up. Just do some Googling on that guy. Like, oh, he is kind of different. But he's a hell of a hitter normally.
Right.
But he's got a big hole in his swing.
Big time.
So he was the big when I was going through the projections there. Trevor Story also was the kind of meh. I don't know if they're quite getting there with those two guys as semi-holds, but otherwise, strong offense. Everybody should be putting up pretty good numbers through everybody else that we've already talked about. And then they have a top 5 in the league starting ace, number 1 pitcher who's 25 years old, and Garrett Crochet. They traded like 3 or 4 top 100 plus like a couple other. I mean, when we get to the White Sox, you'll see like the White Sox prospect list. It's just like
they're all former Red Sox prospects.
They're all people you're probably going to see this year because they were all like great prospects for the Red Sox because the Red Sox had a great farm system. And they cashed in, and Garrett Crochet is a 4.1 starting pitcher WAR, which it's so hard for a starting pitcher to have a high WAR. So having that kind of number, and they also shut him down. Right?
Yeah.
So he only had 146 innings, and he still pulled a 4.1 WAR, which is like amazing. 209 strikeouts in 146 innings as a starter.
Yeah. That's great.
His whip was approaching 1. So they were too terrified to have him get injured, so they shut him down late in the year, but he was actually probably healthy. And then he got traded in December, that big package that we talked about. Behind him, they've got Tanner Hoke. Am I saying that right? Hook.
Tanner Hake, Hoke.
Houck, 28-year-old right-hander. Actually posted a 3.12 ERA with a 1.142 whip. He's at least we were talking, the Patreon folks probably heard us talking about it before the show, but I'd call him like a 2 something. He's close to a 2. He might be a 2. He might be just slightly sub 2, but he's going to fit in most teams' 2 role, and he's fine. You're going to be fine if he's in your top 3. And then things get dicey. What I think they're hoping for is they got Walker Buehler, who this guy was third in Rookie of the Year balloting in 2018.
Voodoo economics.
He was twice. He's been top 10 in the Cy Young, and
Walker Buehler was
on the Dodgers last year.
No, but
he was
opening day starter for the Dodgers for a couple years in a row until he got hurt.
Yeah, it's not
he was
bad.
on the bench. He wasn't on the Dodgers. He was on the bench, being hurt.
Right.
Yeah, he was hurt, but
street clothes.
His upside is way more than Anthony Davis.
I get
That's the truth.
I get it, but last year he wasn't S plus, he was S minus.
Oh yeah,
he was worse than replacement level.
Yeah.
So they're banking that he looks like a 2/3 to kind of help bolster that. But then they have Brian Bello and Cutter Crawford, who are relatively young and apparently relatively talented. They were innings eaters last year. For the Shrewdness Royals fans, we kind of call them their Alec Marsh prototypical type. Sure, they could take a step forward, just like Alec Marsh, but right now their overall performance has been like 4 or 5. You can easily get to them and tear them up a little bit if you have any kind of a reasonable day. So they've got like 2-point-something pitchers in their rotation, and I'm not quite sure what they have on the back end, but then they have this.
Giolito.
Well, here's the thing. So also for their pitching, so Cutter Crawford's pretty darn good, man. So he pitched above, I think, expectations last year, and he was kind of a surprising one for fantasy. If you scooped him up in mid-year, like took a flyer on him, and his ERA is a little high, but those Ks, they're for real. So they can kind of keep you in there. And he didn't walk too many people. He just gave up homers.
Got a good whip.
Yeah, he just did well.
Well, and you still got Giolito, right? Who's like, I know he's a reclamation. He had Tommy John last year, so you never know what you're gonna get. with him coming back, but he was a reasonable starter most of his career. So
I got you. Last time he pitched, 2023, he posted a 4.88 ERA in 33 games with a 1.31 WHIP. And cool, that's like maybe a 4 innings eater.
He's a 5-starter, right?
Yeah,
he's a 4-5.
He's an upside guy, right? I mean, he's got the talent,
if
and if
he's
he's
ready
healthy,
to go at the beginning of the year, yeah.
That's exactly right. And I want to give out one more shout out for you, Lou. Is you may not have known this, but Tanner Houck. He's a local boy. He's a local boy here. So he's from Collinsville, Illinois, but he went to college at MIZ.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
right. So
now, he had a great year last year. If he puts up those kind of numbers, that will go a long way. But
yeah,
I didn't realize he was a first-round pick. He's first-round pick from 2017. Yeah. So he's obviously got some stuff.
Awesome. That's all well and good. And then here's where they got some real problems. Like listed right now, they have Liam Hendricks as their closer, who is 36 and didn't pitch last year.
I think he was getting over cancer or something. He had something really bad.
He was
I remember him.
Released. He was released and was signed from the White Sox last year. He didn't pitch at all. He's been rehabbing for a year. And so they're kind of have him listed as their closer, and then behind him / maybe in front of him is Aroldis Chapman, also 36, maybe older. The whole
who knows how old. Aroldis Chapman, I feel like he's probably at least 40.
He's been 36 for several years now.
Right.
Yeah, he's got that Cuban 36. It just keeps going. Him and
Liam
Satchel
Hendricks
Paige,
on
he knows how to do it.
The A's?
I feel like he was
on the A's.
He was on the White Sox. I had written down he was on the White Sox before he went to the Red Sox.
Maybe I thought he was a lead singer of a British emo band.
You know what? Right? Sounds kind of like that. That's what I was kind of wondering myself. So Aroldis Chapman did not have a great year last year, but he had an okay year last year. 3.79 ERA. He did have his usual 98 strikeouts and 61 innings, but his WHIP was 1.346. Like he's kind of approaching that 1.5 number that you just don't want.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he's their closer, but everybody else is untested or dicey, kind of like mediocre folks in the pen.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys on this bullpen that I'm like, I've never even heard their names.
I haven't heard of anything.
Let me go back to Liam Hendricks, though. So it was, I looked it up, so non-Hodgkin lymphoma. January of 2023, he was diagnosed, so he had chemo he was out all of 2023 doing that stuff.
And out all of 2024.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. But the thing is when he played, so from 2019 to 2022, All-Star game, and he was elite closer. So I think he was with the Athletics. I'm trying to think of who else he might have been with at that time. I think it was the White Sox that he was really good with.
I swear it's the Blue Jays. I'm looking him up. I swear
it's
the
the
Blue Jays is someone.
He's 36, coming back from major cancer, hasn't pitched in 2 years, and this is who you're pinning your hopes on.
No, I think it's a flyer.
Not 26.
It's
not
a flyer.
26. 36. Okay.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's a stretch.
I was right. He pitched for Toronto at one point, Oakland and White Sox, and Dex.
I don't even
22 to
see
24.
him.
He was Minnesota
last year.
He was from age 22 to 24.
Oh,
okay. 2011 to 2013, he was with the Twinkies.
In 1976, he was also with the. I got you, man.
The Twins do not develop pitching. So let's just start there. It makes sense he became an all-star closer after he left.
Right.
So that's all good.
So the bullpen is definitely suspect, and it looks like if you got two 36-year-olds anchoring the bullpen
to finish out games,
it could be.
Keyword anchoring.
I would say they're my early pick for trying to grab the over on the runs scored in any given game.
Right.
That's kind of where they're making their bones.
Right.
Maybe Giolito could be a reclamation project in the bullpen. We talk about that often with these starters gone poop that still have two really good pitches. I don't know if Giolito still has two good pitches, but
I don't know that he ever did.
Oh, he did. He was He was pretty darn good, man.
So
No, he wasn't bad
to
with the
kind
White
of
Sox.
to round some of this out. So they cashed in a ton of talent for Garrett Crochet. However, they did not have to give up their best person, and that was Roman Anthony. He is listed as number 1 or number 2 in all of baseball right now, and he is considered a potential Rookie of the Year candidate if he makes the team. He is an outfielder. I think he's a right-hand hitting outfielder. Probably would slot into. I'm kind of looking here. They actually have already a relatively good stacked outfield, so
Yeah, their outfield is solid. It feels like he's still. I mean, he could make the team just because he's good, but
yeah,
it's not like a.
If he
you
blasts,
gotta have him right now.
no, but people are. He's kind of hit that point where they want him up. Like I think that they could have brought him up last year. They didn't. They knew they weren't going anywhere. So
I mean, the problem is you got Wilyer Abreu out there, right? Who had a great season last year.
He had a great season. Yep.
Yeah, he was sneaky
15
good.
home runs, 322 OBP, great defense and right. Duran had again MVP.
Yeah, Duran. So where are you gonna who's left though?
It's Masataka Yoshida. I think I
can
say this.
Yeah.
But he's 31. He is a OBP monster with some power. I don't know, but he also is not like the best fielder. So I'm wondering, and he's 31. Is this where they find some at bats?
DH him maybe.
Well, Yoshida's a lefty. They may do some platooning.
Yep.
If I have Roman Anthony's bat,
yeah, that makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, I think another prospect that you may be touching on in a second. I mean, so
Roman Anthony left like a champ.
He does?
I missed that. Woof. Okay, fine.
So Roman Anthony is number 2, but the 7th overall prospect in baseball is Christian Campbell, and he can play everywhere. So middle infield and center field, he's kind of a beast. He also maybe I don't know. You're right. I mean, this team's kind of stacked at those particular positions, but injury, something could happen. But keep an eyeball on him for just fantasy purposes and real life purposes too, because he's talented, man. There's a reason why he's 7th overall prospect.
The stuff that I read on him says he's probably going to be the second baseman coming out of spring training.
That's the thing. So
that's Trevor Story did not have like a solid. I mean, 2 home runs is not going to cut it.
He's been hurt forever since he came over from Colorado. I mean, he had like a good season, then he's been hurt.
Right.
He's been street clothes
32.
Story.
Yeah, he's got the Mountain Castle syndrome where he's getting a little older and seeing the writing on the wall. There's dudes coming up that could take his spot if he doesn't perform.
Yeah, especially with these higher rated prospects. Lewis was talking about they're gonna have to find some at bats for some of these guys.
Well, the problem for him though is he costs too damn much money, so they're gonna keep playing Story until he drops. Cause
he's one of those.
He's a 30+ mil a year. He's 20 something for sure. I can't remember how much. I can't believe he got to 30.
Overreach.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly right.
So
Look
I think
good in Colorado.
I think to put a bow on it, with a current today, as of today, 86.5 over under. I think with that starting rotation and that bullpen, I would fade that. I think they're probably going to win 80 games. I think they're going to probably even be at 82, 83. I think we start getting into the upper 80s. You're really banking on Walker Buehler has to come through. Cutter Crawford has to take a step forward. They may even have to have somebody else.
So what's going to happen with Bregman?
Right now, he is saying, well, they'll put him at short.
And then Devers at third?
Devers at third, Story at second. And
or this, well, if they got to play Story, he has to play second in that case.
Right.
Which, I don't know. I don't understand the Bregman signing. I really don't
either.
Ironically, the team that was projected to have the most value had they been signed him was the Kansas City Royals. Replacing Michael Garcia there, that immediately puts them in the playoffs.
No, it made sense. It does make sense.
That would have been fantastic, man. Why don't even plant that seed in my head?
Garcia's, I believe, negative WAR.
He is.
If you drop 4 more wins, they go from their current projection of 81 wins to 85 wins, and they're probably winning the Central.
Right.
So,
like you mentioned too, Lou, he's a pretty solid glove at third. You put him with Witt on the left side.
yeah.
Oh God,
That's a
But
outstanding combination.
the money was prohibitive, and there was never any real chance.
Yeah.
So get this though. So looking at these contracts, the Red Sox are paying $62 million for a third baseman. So Bregman, $35 million this year, and Devers, $27.5 million. That is a lot of money on one spot.
For a third.
Yeah, and the thing
they
is, neither
can't.
like Bregman can play short, and he probably will. Which then, where's Trevor's Story go then? Because that's
Goes
where I
to
play.
second.
So then he
And
goes to
then-
second, which then kicks. I mean,
You're
now
a
he's
rookie.
moving all. I
There
don't know
is
why
a
they
lot.
signed what they did. It seemed like an
There's a lot
odd
of-
signing.
There's a lot of malcontent with this that Devers is really he's digging in his heels. So you're right. That's prohibitive to trade. However, it is possible that they're looking at trading Devers now. I'm seeing rumors as of today that they're at least kicking the tires to see who would be interested in a. I mean, he's an asset. Like you are happy to have a 272, 354, 871 with 28 homers last year in his prime, 28-year-old lefty third baseman.
If you're
Who put a
trading
one in the Gold
Devers,
Glove. Like everything is lines up.
if you're
No,
trading
he's-
Devers,
If we can't afford Bregman, can we afford Devers?
No,
right?
we can't.
Well,
No.
you
He's
gotta
$5
be
million cheaper.
right. You gotta be trading him for a starting pitcher, right?
But that wouldn't make
I
any
mean,
sense. Why on earth would you do this deal if you're going to trade one of them?
Well,
Well,
I don't-
Why not
the
just sign a
rumor
starting
is-
pitcher?
The rumor
I don't think they
is
thought that they would. I
Have
thought
that
they would
much-
put Devers at first.
Oh,
And
that's what they
I don't
were
think
wanting
they
to
were.
do.
Yeah, I don't think they were anticipating the pushback.
So the rumor I'm reading that could
That's
be
the
a
only
thing
reason I could come up with.
would be
Yeah.
Devers to the Mariners for Luis Castillo.
I don't know. We haven't done our Mariners thing yet. Once we dive into that, though, but that's their number one.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I don't know what Seattle. They don't have enough to go win right now. They need a bat, though. I'll give you that much. I know Seattle is hurting for a big bat in the lineup.
But I know that their projections are in the mix. I know that.
They play in the West. They're always
Yeah. You're always in the mix.
Luis Castillo did not have a great year last year for his standards, and he is 32. So you would be trading down on age and also makes $1 bazillion. I wouldn't doubt the
makes
salaries
sense.
are not even that far off.
It makes sense.
It'd be interesting to see if that comes to fruition, but I think we probably got a good run on Boston here, and I think we probably need to start looking at wrapping this one up.
One sec. I want to highlight a couple more things. It's interesting from a contract perspective and money because it might drive someone having to move. Trevor Story is signed through 2028. They're not going to not play him. And he's getting $22.5 million this year, 25 next year, 25 and 27.
Ugh.
And it's all locked, man. So that's not good. Walker
That's
Buehler, and they signed him to a
disgusting.
1-year deal, and we're saying, yeah, he's a 4 or a 5. He's getting $21 million this year to be a 4 or a 5. So I think they obviously see upside in him. Giolito, that dude is making $19 million this year. Where is he? So they have got so
Not even
much
in the
money
rotation.
just stuffed onto people that aren't even really given a sure role, right? So I think they have to do something. It's kind of – I really don't know why they took on a Bregman contract now.
No
And
kidding.
you've got all these other just
Yeah,
dead –
that's-
you're like
You
dragging
know what?
anchors
And-
around
So,
the infield.
Shrewdness
Preview-
listeners, you gotta go listen to our Baltimore episode. It's like the total opposite. They're saying
Totally.
half their lineup is making league minimum or $1 million bucks or whatever,
And trending the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
versus just
Well,
handing
yeah,
out $80 million to.
This is a
30
preview
plus year
of
olds.
my Royals rantings that will happen as we get so many of these Royals fans are complaining about not going out and getting the Bregmans or the Santanders, and it's like, really? First of all, we'll show you that the value is not like that much better. Number
Right.
one, it's better, but it's not that much better. But the money that was getting thrown at these people was just sink
Totally.
the Royals. Like they'd be done in 2 or 3 years and back into
Yep.
the cellar forever if they miss even the slightest on one of these.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You cannot spend $20 million a year for the next 5 years if that person is no longer on your team. You just can't do it.
And the Red Sox are clearly not. This is the deal too. If you're a larger market team like Boston that has a lot of revenue, you can miss on these, and they seem like they're very okay to miss on these because they've missed, and they're adding a lot of dollars for old people who are not as productive as they were. It's the exact opposite of what a small market team has to do.
And
so
not as
sure
good, but at least they get paid a lot of money.
Right. Right?
You got to be smart, man. The more of this exercise we're doing, the more looking at just these teams are doing something smart, and these teams are not doing smart things. It's easy to see.
Fantasy perspective, I think we're obviously looking at Bregman, Devers, Duran.
Yes.
Maybe some flyers on Abreu.
Yeah, I would try to grab Abreu. He's 25.
Maybe Rafaela.
Again, Abreu's 25 and potentially on the way up.
Yeah,
I like Abreu.
I agree with that. From the pitching staff, Garrett Crochet, Tanner Huck. I wouldn't mind a late flyer on Walker Buehler, man. He's got all the upside in the world. Man, I've had a dude on a freaking
late. He's got the pedigree, but
team forever. So
better
dynasty
team. Crawford too. I mean, if you have 183 innings, anywhere close to that with a 1.12 WHIP, that can really help you.
Hey, I will also throw in there. I know you didn't talk about him, but Connor Wong. So out of the catcher position, the fact that he hit 280 with 13 home runs, like that's pretty stinking good at the catcher position. So he might be somebody you've got on your fantasy radar too.
I think he's got eligibility for other places than catcher too. So I believe if Lewis' thing is accurate, first base and second base. And I do remember him playing some infield. I mean, his brother Colton Wong was a middle infielder, so it makes sense.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking that was Colton.
I put the positions they were listed at. So
so that's good stuff. But so did you give a final take on the over/under for 86.5?
Yeah, I think they're low 80s. I think I would take. I'm not a lock, but I would go under.
Leaning under. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
right?
if I had to pick, it's under, but I wouldn't lock. It's not like
I think they got to have a lot of stuff go right and somehow make this flood of people that are all playing the same positions fit on a field.
This is
see what
tops
happens.
out. Everything breaks right. They top out at like 92 wins. Like that's like their ceiling. So
agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Lou. Appreciate it. I think that wraps up our Boston Red Sox preview. We'll be having some more come along. So stay tuned, like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you next time.